Hello, everyone. This is Camila. Sorry about the. Can you hear me now? Um, I'm just waiting for Natalie to connect to see if she can hear me. Um, Hi, Natalie. Or is yes? Great. Okay, great. Okay. So again, let's start this again. Thank you for joining today, everyone. I'm Camila, and I'm just going to remind you that we are on National Caregivers Week, and to take care of your caregiver and show them the respect um, and the respect and all the admiration you have for them. And now, without further ado, I'm just gonna jump right into this week's live. Um, and I'm just going to give you fun and effective ways to read with children. So, just some tips and tricks to make reading part of every day. Okay, so let's start. So, experts believe that reading to your children every day is one of the most important things a parent or a caregiver can do. Because not only because this develops literacy skills, but because it's fun and they can learn so much, not only, as I said, literacy skills, but they can also learn empathy and emotional intelligence through reading from different perspectives, from different characters. Okay, so here I've divided these live into three main age groups because you cannot read the same to a 1-year-old to a 6-year-old. So I'm just gonna start. The three main categories are 0 to 3 years old. Then I'm going to go with children in preschool and then in elementary school. Okay. Another tip is that if you are comfortable in any other language other than English or French, feel free to read to your children in, I don't know, Spanish or any other language that you know. These will not delay their learning of English or French. Okay, so let's start with reading to 0 to 3-year-olds. Okay, so the first tip is to make reading a part of every day. This means that you can try to read to children at least 15 minutes every day, or as long as you like. But 15 minutes are great. It's not too long. It's not too short. Okay. And bedtime is especially a great time to read together. You can either read them again in Spanish, English, French, Italian, anything, any language you want. Okay. Now, the second tip would be to hold your children while you read. So sit with your children on your lap as you read, or make them sit beside you and they can lean on you. But it's really great to have them on your lap so they can maybe hold the book and they can pass the pages for you. So they are an active part of this reading process. The next one is read with your fun voice. So you can use your face, you can use your body, you can use your voice to make reading a fun experience for you and for your children. You can use different voices for different characters, you can put accents, you can do sounds for it for animals or for things like buses or cars. So just make it like a performance, kind of like. Um, Next, we have know when to stop. it's really important to know when to stop. So if your children loses interest or has trouble paying attention, you can just put the book away for a while until they are back, or just end the reading session for the day. So a few minutes of reading is okay. And don't continue reading if your child is not enjoying it, because this will create they maybe stop liking reading if you keep trying to read them while they're not really enjoying it, they're not having fun, they want to do other things. And with practice, your child will be able to sit and listen to you read for longer periods of time. So it's just a practice. So you can start by 5 minutes reading and then increment the time as your child, as you can see progress, right? Um, the next step would be to talk about the pictures. With this particular age group, they don't really recognize the letters yet, but they're really drawn to pictures. So if you can select a book that has a lot of colors, a lot of pictures, um, that would be great, especially from 2 to 3 years old. A lot of colors and pictures, it's great. For 0 to 1 years old, you can try to do books in black and white because they are still developing their eyes. So it will be easier for them to see in black and white than to see a lot of colors. Um, but yeah, so talking about pictures, you can point out to the pages and talk about the pictures in the book. You can also ask the children what they are seeing, so they can take like clues about the story. They can take elements and they can start recognizing things in our world and in the world of the book, right? You can also show your child the words, even if they don't yet recognize the words, or they don't find them funny or fun. Sorry, you can still point the words while you read. So as you read the book, you can run your finger along the bottom of the words so they can follow where you are reading. Um, and soon your child will realize it is the words that you are reading and not the pictures. So I know we say that a picture says more than 100 words or something like that, but for children, it's really important to see what you're reading. So you're not reading the picture, but you're reading the words. And if you're reading other languages, feel free to let your child know the meaning in the English version of the word. So let's say perro is called dog in English, and other words like that. So they are developing like bilingual, a little bit of bilingualism, right? Or even more. If you're using other languages, that would be great. So I have a few books to show you um, that are great, and I'm going to give you a quick sample of how would I read a book with the tips that I just gave you. Okay, so this book here, it's called Little Why by Johnny Lambert. This is a great book for ages 0 to 3. It doesn't have a lot of words. It has colors, and it's a really nice book to start with. So you can show them the book, make them touch the book so they can feel it. They can also develop their sensory skills, right? So here we have little Y, and you can start by saying, look, these are elephants, and this is little Y, right? And then you can do the next. And here you can start reading your fun voice, right? So back in line, little Y espied wild beast. Wow, little Y gasped. I need some spiny, spiky, special horns like those. So you can signal the horns. Look, these are the horns of the wild beast. And here is little Y. And here is probably the mother. So yeah, as you can see, this book doesn't have a lot of words, has a lot of expressions, um, different animals. If you pass through the book, there are giraffes. And you can keep using your fan voice and changing your voices for the characters. Like here, you can say, Little White saying, "Could I have some long, lofty, leggy legs?" And the mom says, "No." "Why?" And then the mom says, "Stay in line." Okay, so so you can just keep showing the pictures, and as you read, as I mentioned, try to put your finger as you read, so they can follow where you're going, right? So yeah, this is a great book. I got it from the library. That's another thing. You don't have to go and spend a lot of money on bookstores because sometimes it can be a little bit expensive. But you can just go grab your library card and go. There are a lot of books and a lot of reading tips also in reading groups, so um, you can really enjoy those with your child. Um, yeah, I have here another book just to show you. This is called Hedgehogs by Steve Wilson and Lucy Tapper. So it's kind of like the same format. You can even tell them what color this is. This is red. Um, and yeah, there are little hedgehogs trying to figure out how to hug. You describe the night, you can describe all the pictures. Yeah, so that is the first age group. So it's 0 to 3 years old. Um, Now I'm going to go ahead and do the next age group, which will be reading with preschoolers. So this first trick, it's kind of a trick more than a tip. So you will like um, it's like you have to express how much you enjoy the reading time, right? So tell your child how much you love story time. Tell them how it is the favorite part of your day. So they will get excited. They if they see that you like it, they will go ahead and like it too, and they will be expecting this. They will be um, yeah, they will really look forward this time of the day, especially because children copy us in everything, right? And if they see you reading, if they know that you enjoy it, they will enjoy it too. Um, our next tip will be surround your child with books. So try to have books in your home for your child to read, not only during bedtime, but just have books laying around. So if they get bored, they go ahead and explore them, even if they cannot read yet. They can just go explore them, and they can even probably create their own stories on their heads about what they see on their books, right? Um, and as I said before, you don't need to go and buy a lot of books from the bookstore. If you do, um, feel free to do it. But there are a lot of second-hand bookstores. There are garage sales, thrift shops, and even libraries have book sales, so you can find them there. And of course, borrowing from your library. Um, Another important thing in this particular age group is that um, you need to let your child choose what they want to read, right? So you can let them pick their own books, whether you're on the bookstore or on the library. You can let them go free and roam and find their own books. And if you already have books at home, they can just choose what they want to read for the night or for the day. Um, And this will make reading more fun because it is something that interested them before it interested you. Okay, so the next part would be showing your child the parts of the book. Because they are a little bit older now, their attention span is a little bit more um, longer, right? So you can start telling them what part what the parts of the book are. So you can go ahead and talk about the cover. So what we can see on the cover, what is the cover different from the rest of the book? So this is harder, and then the pages are not, are a little bit flimsy, right? And then you can ask them before start to read a book. You can ask them what do they think, if they see the cover, what do they think the book will be about. So you can spark conversation even before starting to read. You can tell them what the title is. This is called a title. And then you can also introduce the authors. So here is Steve Wilson and Lucy Trapper. There's always some information about them on the back or on the front. So you can tell them a little bit more about the authors, the illustrators, um, and yeah. You can also maybe look at the numbers on the pages so they can start exploring numbers. I think this book doesn't have page numbers, but you can look at that. And then you can do show how we read the words on a page, right? So for this age, we're talking a little bit more about a structure. So if you show them how you read the words, because in different languages we read words and everything in a different way, right? But in English and French, Spanish, we read from left to right. So again, it is really good if you point the direction you're going and explain them that you read from top to bottom. So left to right, top to bottom. In this book, it's pretty straightforward because we don't have a lot of dialogue spread out. It's just the text. But here in this next book, that's called Nanette's Baguette from Mo Willems, who is a great author. You can see that in some parts, like for example here, maybe your child will want to start reading from here, but the text actually begins here. So top to bottom and then left to right, right? So that's a really great tip. So you can give more structure, and then you can spark maybe for them to start, when they start reading, to know better where to begin. Then another great tip, is to ask your child questions while you're reading. So you can discuss what's happening in the story and point out things on the page and even relate them to things they know in real life. So let's say here on Nanette's Baguette, you have here this city, like this little town center. And it has like the pharmacy, the grocery store, the bakery, a little park, and a fountain. So if you know of a fountain and you've been with your child to the park or to the grocery store and they like it, or even if they don't like it, you can point it out and tell them, like, remember the time we went to the grocery store or to the park. So relate things, the things that are happening in the book to maybe your real life too. And by asking questions, they can really start getting into the story. So some of the questions that you could ask will be like, what do you think will happen next? So you close the book for a little bit or you leave it open, but you can ask them, what do they think will happen? Or what is this? So what is this? This is a bread. Yeah, this is called a baguette. Or what is this? this looks like a frog to me. But I'm sure your children will have really fun answers. Um, so yeah, sparking conversation, asking questions will be really good for them developing their vocabulary and their literacy skills. Another thing that is linked to this one is letting your child ask you questions. So if your child asks a question while you're reading, you stop and answer the question. It doesn't matter if it interrupts the flow of the reading or you're in the middle of a dialogue. It is important for you to answer the questions and don't stop the reading so you can address whatever your child wants to know, right? Just remember that there's always time, and you can always pick up where you left off or repeat the last part, right? Um, and again, find ways to relate while they ask questions or when you're asking questions. Find ways to talk about how the story relates to your real life, or to the child's life, maybe to their friends. So it can be a more immersive experience for them. The next one, I guess it's more for parents, I guess, but um, it's read again and again. So if your child has a favorite book, it doesn't matter if they want to read it 100 times, or if they want to hear their favorite story one time and another and another. It's really beneficial for children to have this kind of favorite stories, because with time they will start memorizing their favorite stories, and they will be able to tell you what's happening or what happens next, and that's really good for their memory. Um, and the next one that is also linked with this is let your child tell you the story. So even if they don't read, because they many children can memorize the stories. So if they heard them many times, so they can, it will be really great for them to read the book to you, for experience, for them to develop vocabulary, to learn how to express themselves, and also for you to know how they're progressing. It'll be a great. It will be really fun too if they are reading. Um, you can do maybe the voices or the sounds, because maybe they are too concentrated on getting the story right or not. But you can also help them while they're telling you the story. Um, in this age group, what you can also do is talk about punctuation on the books. So explain punctuation is a way to show how we talk. So you can say, for example, when we talk, we usually pause a little bit at the end of a sentence. The way we show this in writing is to use a period. So you can show them where the periods are. And you can even exaggerate a little bit on your pauses for commas, for periods, for exclamation signs, right? So they can start learning how those sound. Crack. So do it loud. The baguette is warm. Pause. The baguette tastes wonderful. So they can start learning how to read and how punctuation works. Another also good thing is that you can use books on tape. So especially this is for books in other languages. So if you don't know a language, or no, if your child doesn't know a language, you can let them hear stories in these other languages. And you can borrow books like audiobooks from the library, or books that have audio cassettes or CDs. So you can your especially when you borrow books from the library, or if you buy them, and they come with CDs, that is great because you have a physical book, but you can also they can also hear it while they have the physical one, and they can uh, browse through the pages, right? Okay, so we're heading to our final age group of readers, which is elementary school. So here they're a little bit bigger. They probably already know TV and iPads and cell phones and everything. So normally this age group is a little bit more. It's going to be a more of a challenge to keep their interest um, on the books. Not much of their attention span, but for them to keep enjoying books and keep loving reading, right? So um, so the first tip is to encourage your kid to read another book. So keep finding ways to encourage your child to keep reading. So if they find a book they like, or if they like a book, or if they find another book with you can find a book with similar themes or similar characters, or even you can go on ahead and get other books from the same author or illustrator. Um, Here, it's really important because they are already in elementary school. You can use the teachers as a powerful resource. So, because they are spending more time with the teachers now, ask the teachers what you think will be a great read for them. Um, and even your librarian, if you usually go there with your child, they probably already know what they like. So yeah, use the librarian, use the teachers. They're great sources of ideas for books. Um, the other tip is to take turns reading. So once your child can read, have them read out loud every day if it's possible. So you can take turns reading. You can read one page and then they read the other, or as I said before, they can read one character, the main character, and then you can read all the other characters, secondary characters. You can make the sounds. Um, so yeah, you are kind of creating a performance between you and your child, which is really great. Um, then again, this is really important during this time of their lives to make connections to the child's life. Um, you can help them make connections between what they read in the books and what is happening in their lives. Or if you're so for example, if you're reading a book about family, for example, talk about how what happens in the story is similar or is different from what happens in your family. So you can start by saying, relating it to simple questions. Maybe in the book there are four siblings, um, so you can relate them to. You see, you have just one other sibling. It's easier, right? You don't have to share your toys with three others, or things like that. It's really about finding connections. So they, as I said at the beginning, they can develop their empathy, their emotional. Intelligence, but they can also start relating to real situations. Um, and I like books always leave you with a message after, right? So they can learn about a lot of things, maybe dangerous situations on books that are not super explicit, but they can start learning about those, and you can relate that to maybe something that happened or something you don't want to happen, or things like that. So next, as I said, is they find more distractions during this age, so you can give your child an incentive to read. So at bedtime, or any other time of the day, um, encourage your child to read. Um, Offer them a choice, maybe between reading or sleeping. So they will choose to read because what child wants to sleep? They will always choose the fun activity, right? So if you give them the choice between reading and sleeping, they will choose reading. As long as you don't offer something more tempting like TV or a movie. Um, so yeah, another great thing is to try different types of books and magazines. So try different themes, different. Uh, you can even try some child magazines because they have great interactive content. Like they might have some scientific facts or historical facts or just random facts, but they put it so nicely and clear and easy to so your child can learn, but it's not like really scientific description that they will get bored. They also have like arts and crafts in some magazines. They have the joke section. Um, so it's really fun to get them to read more magazines, to maybe introduce them to um, different types of books, like comic books. Maybe not make them read them, uh, but just show them all there is to reading, right? Um, what else? Another kind of trick is because now children like to watch a lot of things on their iPads and their TVs. Uh, is to turn on closed captioning on your TV or on your device. So whenever you're watching a TV or you're watching TV or they are watching TV and you could try turning on this closed captioning so they can relate to what the characters on the TV on the stream or anything are saying to the words that are appearing on their screen. Um, and this is a great thing again for if you put a series in another language, they can start learning that by reading what is on the screen, um, on the captions. And you can later, if they are a little bit more advanced, and you want them to read, but they still want to watch, and the thing they're watching, you can just mute whatever they're watching so they can read what's happening. Um, I'm a bookworm and I have tons of books. Um, so I think it's a really great habit um, to implement in children. I think my internet is. Can you hear me? Hopefully, you can hear me. I think my internet connection was a little bit weak. But yeah, as I said, it's a great habit to implement children so they can develop every literacy, emotional thinking. They can see how things happen around the world. Um, they can explore different worlds and their curiosity and their imagination while reading. So let me know if you've tried any of these tips before in the comments. If you have any questions, if you have any book recommendations, feel free to add them to the comments. And yeah, I think that concludes our fun life for today. So keep reading, make reading a part of every day for you and your children, and enjoy the rest of your day or night, depending when you're seeing this. Um, Bye.